Good morning everyone. First off, I would like to talk about why this video took so long to make. During my first playtest with this team on Bringer starting when Vivian first released about 2 months ago, the result is kinda mixed. I tried my best, but it doesn't look like my score can improve at the time. I thought maybe Miyabi Vivian Astra is not strong enough to get a kill on Bringer at M0 baseline, but now I think that what they need is just a stronger buff. This is not that weird. I think only Miyabi Sokaku can kill boss consistently regardless of buff power. The problem here is on the rotation requirement. I've talked about both Miyabi and Vivian playstyle a lot before, and they have a pretty similar goal in mind. They want alternating attribute anomaly disorders between Frost and Ether, so Miyabi can generate Fallen Frost stack for her storms, and because this is Vivian's main damage source, while her secondary damage source is the Ablooms. On Bringer before, this proves difficult to do with Attack D6 Miyabi. Attack D6 Miyabi without build-up buff can proc disorders fast enough for Vivian, as disorder proc speed will determine disorder count and the disorder damage. As you can see in the following combat review on this showcase, to optimize Vivian damage fully, she wants a lot of disorder count. This is only possible either with high build-up buff like in this showcase, or AM-D6 Miyabi, which takes a lot of damage potential from her. But one other thing that really improves this fight rotation is the free decibels from Graceful Mastery. Visualize this cycle of Frost and Ether anomaly as a car driving. If we want to keep proccing disorder, we need gas, and that gas is energy and decibels, in addition to basic attacks. But basic attack anomaly build-up is too slow for the rotation. Vivian especially needs the energy and decibels to keep her feather ready every time, and I think that's why this is my first successful attempt on being a kill with Miyabi Vivian Astra. Although Graceful Mastery details of 15-second cooldown on the free decibels does gives a new problem, which we will talk about more later. So from the preface, you might already able to visualize the fight strategy. In addition to the ones explained before, we also want to make sure this hand summon timestamp is on time. The first hand at 1 minute mark and the second hand at 2 minute mark. If the hand summon too late, it will shift the rotation to the right, which might lower the disorder count at the last stun rotation, and in return might make us don't have enough time to deal the final blow. Miyabi, Vivian, and Astra build here is all standard. They all have a drive disc dedicated to them. There's no reason to deviate on it here. Like explained before, we will use Attack D6 Miyabi here because the build-up buff can fulfill the rotation requirement. AM-D6 Miyabi just doesn't have enough power to kill Bringer. Stacking Pen on Miyabi here is really good, and get as much AP on Vivian as possible. Also, I do want to talk a little bit more on Astra Energy Recharge stat here. For double anomaly team, most of the time, I always prefer to use Max ER Astra, that is 3.58 with ER D6 and 2-piece swing jazz, as it is the comfiest for quick swap double anomaly. But that makes it not possible for me to get max attack buff from her with the disc that I have. After some consideration, I think Miyabi really needs the full 1200 attack buff from Astra for a Bringer kill. So here I have to settle with 3.27 ER Astra with 2-piece Hormone Pang instead, which still viable by any means, but does require some planning. Because during the early testing on the rotation, I find Astra buff on Miyabi seems to be expired at the most critical moment. Mostly because Astra buff cycle is not at the right time, making her card keep being eaten by Vivian instead. Now before we go to the rotation breakdown, I have to point out that this is an empirical rotation. I got this rotation by trial and error, repeating until I finally get a good one. So it does makes it kinda hard to explain, but we'll walk it down slowly to understand it. There are two rotations that we do here, out of stun rotation and stun rotation. The out of stun rotation is normal rotation for double anomaly, proccing disorder back to back by swapping between Miyabi and Vivian. But the secondary aim for this is to build days, as disorders will inflict days, so that we can set up for the stun burst rotation, where we will fit 3 of Miyabi's enhanced basic and 5 to 6 disorders. Now let's start from the beginning. Astra FSF is to build her decibels, I like doing this so her ult got ready faster, then we activate Vivian Feather by her defensive assist. This also generates her 2 feather, so I prefer this rather than her basic attack if possible. Back to Miyabi, basic attack until Frost. I avoid using Miyabi's EX here before she proc Frost, so Vivian Feather by Miyabi EX will not resolve the damage from Abloom. Quick note here, if you build too much Ether Anomaly before the Frost, there's a chance that Abloom from Frost proc will proc Corruption. This is not good, since it will waste 2 stacks of Fallen Frost for Miyabi. But this could be handled by just doing the rotation like in the showcase, or by immediately holding basic after EX, so the 2 Fallen Frost generated from the Frost Disorder will still be kept by Miyabi mid her charging animation. Quick assist to Vivian. Now what I like to do here is quick assist, basic attack until her basic 4, where she will launch with her umbrella for the second time and generate 1 feather, and instead of pressing another basic to her plunge attack, press her EX special for 3 more feathers. Even though the animation is longer, all that happened after her EX will be off-build and swap cancelable by quick assist to Miyabi. Then back to Miyabi, full basic attack here. We are waiting for Vivian Feather change from purple to white. As soon as it becomes white, Miyabi EX to Frost. This consumes 2 of Vivian Feathers for 2 Ablooms. If we EX too fast here, there might be unused feather later in the rotation, which is a damage loss. Basic attack a bit to enhance basic, and skipping Astra Cord quick assist to Vivian here is on purpose. This is to shift Astra buff cycle later on the run, so Miyabi will always be buff. This is something that's hard to explain as it is done by trial and error. If you find sometimes Miyabi unbuffed mid-rotation, it's probably because Vivian always ate the cord from Astra. So by skipping some cord for Vivian while she is still buff, it will make Miyabi buff safer later on. It's only a problem for mid-ER Astra build. If you have 3.58 ER Astra or her signature, this is a no problem. Vivian trigger Corruption, quick assist to Miyabi, release the 2 unused Fallen Frost before we use her ultimate, which will give her another 6 Fallen Frost. Just a small damage optimization. Release another level 1 enhanced basic to EX, then to full basic. This is to build half of the Frost Anomaly before we go to Vivian ultimate next. And we have time to spend on Miyabi here, waiting for Astra to generate her second cord. We can spend more time on Miyabi here because after this, we quick assist to Vivian ultimate, then quick assist back to Miyabi through Astra cord. Vivian field time is really low if she is built accordingly with AMD 6, and she really have nothing good to do on field since her basic attack is not that good. So timing Astra cord so we can seamlessly go back to Miyabi is great. Also, Vivian ultimate with her previous feather all used up is really good, so we have no negative feathers. Then Miyabi full basic and cancel the 5th basic to Astra ultimate. Miyabi chain attack Frostbringer, EX for full Fallen Frost, immediately hold basic here since we don't have much time. We need Bringer uninterrupted to summon the hand at 1 minute mark. Chain attack Vivian for Corruption, to quick assist Miyabi by Astra. And now you might be thinking, we keep going by EX with Miyabi to Frost here, right? But notice here Bringer is almost done, and our resource is not ideal. Vivian and Miyabi's energy is low, and none of the ultimate is ready. So the best thing to do here is to let Bringer summon the hand, while Miyabi and Vivian build energy and set up for the stun rotation by building the anomaly meter closer to max. Now, before we go further, let's talk about Abloom damage. You might see this Vivian Abloom damage scaling before and thinking that Miyabi is not a good pair for Vivian because she is not an AP scaler and the Ice attribute multiplier is lower. But this is not entirely true. From this section of the fight, we can see that Ice Abloom gives 217k damage, while next, when Vivian proc Corruption, the Ether Abloom damage is only 188k. This is true for the most of the late Abloom damage. Ice Abloom will give higher damage than the Ether Abloom. The Ice Abloom damage scales based on Miyabi's attribute anomaly damage. There is Shatter damage, and Shatter damage is not only affected by AP, but also attack, damage, pen ratio, and importantly, resistance. This is mostly why Ice Abloom deals higher damage to Bringer here, as Bringer has an ice weakness. And Miyabi also has a rest ignore on the anomaly build-up by her enhanced basic. If you want to learn the specifics on the damage scaling, I will reference you to Linwell video. Now let's get back to the rotation breakdown. The anomaly mirror setup is good here. Now we wait for the hand to be summoned. start by Vivian basic attack, then quick assist to Miyabi to trigger disorder and kill the hand. By waiting for Bringer to summon the hand first, we are in a better spot to execute the stun rotation. Our target here is 3 of Miyabi enhanced basic and 5 or 6 disorders. Now you might be thinking, isn't 3 enhanced basic only possible with Sokaku and Lycon? Well, I guess not. Like you'll see here, this stun rotation is sensitive to Astra Corp. If you have different energy on Astra, the execution might be a bit different. This is because we want to avoid Vivian quick assist mid-stun rotation, as it shatters Bringer and wastes the stun time with a slow animation. Here we start by Miyabi EX to Frost. There's no disorder here since the hand phase fizzled the previous attribute anomaly. This part has to be done before Astra Court is ready. Miyabi hold basic, then swap to Vivian EX. Wait until Miyabi Storm is done, then swap back by Astra Court to Miyabi Ultimate to the second hold basic. Next we want to trigger Corruption, and the way we can do it is by Vivian Chain Attack. So before Miyabi Enhanced Basic hits to trigger Astra Court Quick Assist, we swap to Astra, and this is also good as it will give longer freeze duration on Bringer, and Astra trigger the Chain Attack for Vivian to trigger Corruption. Now, this part is important. If at the first part Vivian didn't build enough enemy limiter with her EX, or there is not enough of Astra Court mid-stun rotation, the Corruption will trigger mid-Miyabi Chain Attack, which will set in the anomaly internal cooldown, making Miyabi need to add one more basic attack for the attribute anomaly threshold. This is an even bigger problem if the Corruption is triggered late mid-Miyabi Ultimate, making Miyabi last ultimate hit can't trigger Frost. This wastes valuable stun time and would be bad for the stun damage. After Vivian Chain Attack to Miyabi, double EX to trigger Frost, and the third hold basic, to immediately Vivian Ultimate for the 5th disorder inside the first stun. And that's the stun rotation, 3 enhanced basic and 5 disorders, 6 if there is a tribute anomaly before Bringer is stunned. I have to say it again, this rotation is only possible by the build-up and Decibel's buff from Graceful Mastery. And now I have to point out the rotation requirement of Graceful Mastery, the Decibel Tuning. To make sure the ultimate timing of Miyabi, Vivian, and Astra is as expected as in the showcase, we have to time who will get the 500 decibels every 15 seconds, as the off-field character will only get 50% of it, like the general rule of decibels generation. There's a chance of Vivian and Miyabi's ultimate not ready for the rotation. There's 2 possibilities. The first is that Graceful Mastery cooldown is not up yet, so the free 500 decibels is not ready. And the second possibility is that Astra Tremolo triggers the Corruption instead of Vivian, which will make Astra stall the 500 decibels and make Vivian ultimate not ready for the next planned rotation. There's too much part of the rotation to remember for this buff. It kinda like hormone tongue tuning in a way, but the easiest way to handle this is just reset until you get it. Now back to the rotation breakdown. We are back on the out of stun rotation, back-to-back disorders to build days for the next stun. This part might look awkward, but I find this is the best way to keep Miyabi buff for the following rotation. When Astra Court is ready, quick assist to Miyabi full basic, then to Astra ultimate to Miyabi's chain attack. This part I waited a bit for the buff decibels cooldown. Miyabi need to trigger the free 500 decibels here for the next rotation. If not, it's a reset. Vivian Chain, trigger Corruption, quick assist back to Miyabi through Astra, to immediately Miyabi ultimate. We need to keep the interruption going so Bringer don't summon the hand before we use Miyabi ultimate here. Basic attack with Miyabi here, we have a bit more time. Hold basic to quick assist Vivian and trigger Corruption with EX, and just like in the first half of the fight, we can immediately quick assist back to Miyabi by waiting on Miyabi a bit for Astra second core to be ready while on Vivian later. Now we can let Bringer summon the second hand. While he is laughing, Miyabi gather energy and build a non-limiter. We skip the quick assist to Vivian here. I find that the rotation after the second hand will be easier with more available port on Astra later. Now, this is different than the first stun rotation. Here we are not quite ready for the stun, as the days meter is still 70. So don't use Miyabi EX immediately here, instead trigger the Frost by basic, then EX to build the next Frost anomaly meter, and basic attack a bit more. This part is a setup for the stun window. We need Miyabi energy to be full for the second stun window rotation. Miyabi hold basic to Vivian ultimate here, I find this better than holding Vivian ultimate for the stun window, especially for the feather count. After that, we are now to the stun rotation again. Quick assist to Miyabi and EX to simultaneously stun and frostbringer. Graceful Mastery has to trigger here to give 500 decibels for Miyabi for her ult after this. If not, it's a reset. Miyabi hold basic to Vivian. I would rather we don't use her quick assist here, but this is still workable. After Corruption is triggered, EX to build the next Ether Anomaly meter. Now for the next rotation, we quick assist to Miyabi by Astra, and before swapping to Miyabi, get Astra out of her credenza state by holding her basic to Miyabi ultimate and Miyabi second hold basic, and because we get Astra out of her credenza state, we can freely go back to her now without shattering Bringer early by Vivian quick assist. And I'm stalling on swapping to Astra to the last moment here, because I want this Astra core to be ready at the moment of Miyabi chain attack, so that after Miyabi double EX and the third hold basic, we can swap to Vivian and immediately EX without quick assist first, and then trigger the 6th disorder of this stun window by Astra ultimate. Well, at least I tried to be. Now there's two possibilities of what happened here. Either I use Astra ultimate too fast, making the beam hit before the Ether meter is full by Vivian EX, or the meter is already full, but the ICD of Frost Anomaly is still on, so the 6th disorder can't be triggered. Either way, all this can be solved by waiting half a second on using Astra ultimate. I can assure you the 6th disorder is possible to do, as I've done it before. I just got the timing off this time. And the rest we can do here is trigger Frost for the last disorder count. Here's something cool: trigger the last disorder by using Miyabi level 2 enhanced basic. I have to learn this the hard way since I've got too much close call before. There's just not enough time to trigger Frost and enhance basic for the last time. And that's the breakdown. It's kinda make me sad that this team rotation really depends on anomaly build-up buff and decibel buff to work, as it is really cool. Vivian role of fast disorder procer is really good, especially in this stun window rotation, and I think she is still underutilized most of the time. This team can't really work every time, but maybe it would change later when Yuzuha come out. Well, I hope this video helped you, and see you next time.